The next one is then to turn the page to page 13. Now this is our balance sheet. That is kind of the story at a point in time. That point in time is the 31st of March 2009, so about 6 months ago. And it's not a bad balance sheet for an organisation like ours, although actually many would look at our reserves and say they should be slightly higher. But the thing that really stands out is the third line down, cash at bank, £977,000. Now, I have explained this to people in the past, and I will do so again. It sounds as though we've got an enormous amount of money in the bank. In practice, about 830,000 of that, 840,000, came in 2 days before the end of the year, and we use it then for our direct payments, which many of which go out straight after the year end. At least the first quarters do. This is about half our income on direct payments. So it's not quite what it seems. We are not awash with cash in the way that that might suggest, but we have some cash on deposit, and so we should, for our reserves. The next one just to look at is the page before, which is the statement of our income for the year. That's page 12. And there is two things there which are slightly odd. The first one is that there's no comparative figures for the year before. Now, you may remember that a year ago we set up this limited company called KCIL Limited, and it started. And it started on the 1st of April 2008. And what we closed at that point in time was the unincorporated KCIL. So one closed, another opened. And so you've got the slight oddity of one, no comparative figures. Normally it's a good thing to see what happened the year before and see what the changes are. And secondly, we've got a donation. The trustees of the old KCIL gave the assets to the new KCIL on the 1st of April. And that is reflected in these figures. So that at the top left, donations and grants under unrestricted funds, £186,000, slightly misleading. 125,000 of that was the old trustees donating the balance on the accounts to the new trustees, most of whom were the same people. But two different organisations, if that doesn't muddle you too much. The rest of the accounts give you support, but I do want to draw your attention to one slightly difficult area at the moment, and we're in negotiations. We have a very good, this is page 5, top of page 5, it's back into the trustees' report. And we have a very good relationship with Kingston. They're very supportive, they give us money as a basic trust, as a basic organisation. They also allow and give us the responsibility of managing and distributing the direct payments money. Now, they can't do it themselves, we do it for them. We have a good relationship. But what has come to light, and it's my fault that it didn't come to light a year earlier, but what has come to light is that we have had quite a substantial increase in the amount of work we do under direct payments. Really quite big increases in the numbers of users. But the money we were getting to administer it was going up by inflation. And what has happened, in a sense, is the dam has burst. Often that happens when something is restricted. Perfectly understandable why Kingston wants to keep the administrative cost to a minimum, because they had budget constraints. But we have found this year, the year these accounts are there for, that we have actually had to subsidise this from our central unrestricted funds. And we are in negotiations with Kingston at the moment to try and put that right. We're not asking to make big profits on this. We're not a private company trying to make a rate of return, but we do need to properly fund our staff and the operation. And I hope to be able to report to you in a year's time that those negotiations were satisfactory, that Kingston continues to get a very good level of service, as I think the direct payment users do, and at the same time we are being fairly treated in terms of our costs being covered. So I hope to be able to report that. I can't report that as of today, but Dan Wilson, who's in charge of direct payments, who is part of the filming team, and Theo and myself are working on that with Kingston. So those are your accounts, ladies and gentlemen. Not in bad nick, but reserves need, for an organisation like ours, reserves need to be at a level, and technically we're probably still a bit low, but I don't see any great hope for increasing that over the next 12 months, but we'll try and keep them the same. And I would put to you the recommendation that these accounts are approved, if you're happy to do that. Is that a yes? Well, like Malcolm, I shall take that as a yes, so thank you very much.
Ori, thank you very much indeed for presenting that, and thank you very much indeed for all your hard work in keeping us on the straight and narrow financially. The only other item is any other business, and this is your opportunity. We can take the microphone over to you to ask any questions of me or any other officer of KCIL. Does anybody have any questions? We try to make KCIL a transparent organisation. You've got the accounts, you've had reports, we've got an absolutely wonderful newsletter that tells you what it is that we're up to. But if anybody has any questions, they're more than welcome to ask that question now, and we'll do our best to answer it. Or if you don't want to ask a question now, come to us afterwards and put those questions to us, or send an email in. So if you have any query at all, please let us know. No questions as yet. Oh yes, sorry. Hello.